New York is a city that never sleeps. Events are taking place here that shock not only the metropolis, but the whole world. One of these events is the Harvey Weinstein case. This case, which has become a symbol of the #MeToo movement, has changed the perception of sexual violence and harassment. Today, we will tell you the whole story, from beginning to end. Harvey Weinstein was one of the most influential people in Hollywood. He helped create cult films, won awards, and was highly respected. However, there was a dark truth behind the shiny facade. In October 2017, the New York Times and the New Yorker published investigations that exposed Weinstein's decades-long crimes. Dozens of women, including famous actresses such as Ashley Judd and Gwyneth Paltrow, have accused him of sexual harassment and violence. These accusations spanned several decades and shocked the public. In May 2018, Weinstein was arrested. He was charged with first- and third-degree rape. This event marked the beginning of one of the most high-profile lawsuits in the history of New York. The trial began in January 2020. Every day brought new details and evidence. The victims testified, recounting the horrifying details of their meetings with Weinstein. These testimonies caused a wave of support and sympathy from the public. In February 2020, Weinstein was found guilty of first-degree criminal sexual assault and third-degree rape. This was an important victory for all those who fought for justice. In March 2020, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison. This verdict was a landmark event. He demonstrated that even the most powerful people cannot escape punishment for their crimes. It was a signal to all the victims that their voices would be heard. The Weinstein case has had a huge impact on society. It has led to increased awareness of the issues of sexual harassment and violence. Many victims were inspired and decided to tell their stories. This case has become a catalyst for global change. In response to the scandal, many companies have implemented new policies and training programs to prevent such cases. The case also contributed to legislative efforts to improve the legal framework for the protection of victims of sexual violence. The Harvey Weinstein case is not just a lawsuit. It is a symbol of the struggle for justice, equality, and respect. This case showed that even the most influential people should be responsible for their actions. And perhaps that is why it will remain in people's memory for many years to come. The Harvey Weinstein case has become one of the most high-profile stories of sexual assault and harassment in modern history. This is not just a trial. It is a symbol of the global struggle for justice, equality, and the right of every person to be heard and protected. This case opened the eyes of the public to the scale of the problem, which has long remained in the shadows, and served as a catalyst for significant changes in society and legislation. Weinstein, being one of the most influential people in Hollywood, used his power for systematic abuse. His exposure and subsequent conviction showed that no one is above the law and that victims can achieve justice despite the status of their abusers. The Weinstein case has given many people the strength and confidence to tell their stories, contributing to the #MeToo movement and leading to widespread reforms aimed at preventing sexual harassment and violence in the future. This case demonstrated that society will no longer remain silent in the face of injustice, and that everyone's voice is important. The adoption of new policies and programs aimed at protecting against sexual violence, as well as legislative changes, were a direct result of the exposure and condemnation of Weinstein. The Harvey Weinstein case will forever remain in people's memory as a powerful symbol of change and hope for a better future.